Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Lose it, you never win.
Oh, boy!
That stuff is...
Yes!
What's going on, YouTube? It's Nathan back with another video presentation. This is episode 10, season 7 of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. In this episode, it is the NFL draft grades for the first round. I initially said I was going to record it, but I decided to just, while it was fresh in my mind, go ahead, give the grades for each of the first round picks for the first round of this year's draft. Tomorrow, I'll have the WNBA preseason ranking video up in the evening. So be tuned in for that. Monday, like I said in the previous video, we'll break down the Ravens and the Washington Commanders draft recap and the Wizards. Then we got to check in on the Orioles and the Nationals and the Wizards also too at some point. So be tuned in for those episodes. And now, that was the introduction. Now, but before we get into this video, I want to keep in mind, I took a couple of things into consideration. I was disappointed to really know that my mock drafts sometimes are very interesting. I go by needs, what I thought made the most sense. When I did the first when I did the 1.0 with Deshaun Spencer, when I did it with him, his picks were more realistic than mine. Some of them I hit on, and then there were some I didn't, which was quite all right. But there were also two I was surprised. Actually, no, I was not surprised. There was no trade within the first 10 picks. Then everybody, for all of a sudden, just went crazy, and I don't know what to really feel. I predicted that 5 quarterbacks would have gone in the first round, and only one did. But let's go ahead and get started. And these grades, I felt I believe are fair. It's okay to disagree. You guys also let me know what you guys think of each for your team, your pick. But we're going to start it off with the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The Jacksonville Jaguars selected Kayvon Walker. Interesting. Now, coming out of Georgia, this is primarily he's a project. They needed more of an edge, and he didn't really give me the sizzle that would make you go, oh, okay. So you're hoping that his upside will really be the key here. A lot of people would have said Aiden Hutchinson. But there was a report that came out that Shad Khan and Trent Baalke had disagreements on who to take. And with Walker, don't get me wrong, he very athletic, but I need to see more. If you pushed me, I would went with Aiden. Now, fun fact: the last time we saw this was Courtney Brown, Mario Williams, Jadeveon Clowney, and Myles Garrett. They are the last 4 to be picked number 1 overall. 3 I think Trayvon would be a good player, but not number one overall pick material. I would, if you push me, is it somewhere in the top 10? That's just me. Now, with the second overall pick, the Detroit Lions selected Aiden Hutchinson. They got their boy. He's staying home. I like the fact they addressed the defense. They needed that badly to me. He's definitely going to be an impact player for the Lions, no doubt. There is some inconsistencies, but I believe that'll all work out, and it will work itself out. The biggest question is what is his upside? Like, how do you help a guy continue to tap into his potential? Like, this is the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions have had decent players, but I like what Matt Campbell and what they've done. They've kind of started to change the culture in Detroit. But I don't want Aiden to be in a situation where he may not – Detroit's not for him. But he gives the Lions what they need. Now, going on with the third overall pick, the Houston Texans selected Derek Stingley Jr. I'm not mad at this. Houston needs a lot. Okay? I'm just going to be honest. When I look at Houston, they don't really put emphasis on corners. They could have took. I would have been not mad they took Kayvon Thibodeaux here or Trayvon Walker. I would not have been mad at that. Derek Stingley is not a bad corner. He's a pretty good damn corner, but I mean, in man coverage he does well. I don't think he's not. He doesn't show. He doesn't have the tendency to be a physical corner, particularly against the run. But they had to start somewhere because your corners in Houston. I did my research before I started. Lonnie Johnson Jr. is one. Desmond King, Steven Nelson, Tremont Smith, and you have to name Trevion Thomas. Like, they don't have it. They needed somebody that can change the tempo and be the bus driver, be the difference maker. Like, I really do feel like he is a good pick. But that was interesting. That was very interesting. With the fourth overall pick, the New York Jets selected Ahmed Sauce Gardner. He's going to be a star. Arguably, he was the best corner in this draft. He even bragged on himself, saying he was the best in this draft class, period. The biggest thing with New York, they need corners. You're going against teams now like Buffalo, Buffalo, New England, and then Miami. You need corners. You need that. The only questions that I have really is just certain techniques of his game. That's really about it. Even though he never allowed a touchdown during his time at the University of Cincinnati, he is the reigning ACC Player of the Year, and I do think because Houston took Derek Stingley, they pulled. I think New York just immediately said, "Take him, because the Jets have to start building this defense now, which they did, because you got Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill and the New York Jets. It is going to be one interesting season.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming, or act like I know this was coming, because I didn't.
Let's go to the other New York team with the 5th overall pick. The New York Giants selected Kayvon Thibodeaux. They needed. He was arguably the best pass. He was the best pass rusher in this draft, without a question. To me, you can make an argument he could have been the number 1 overall pick, but a couple of things that was taken in consideration. He had the ankle injury, unfortunately, and his production wasn't the same after the injury. You even had, and I hate this when it comes up before the draft, where you got these team doctors that question, do they still have it, and which hurts a guy, which hurts value. A lot of people don't really understand that, and to me, Thibodeaux, I see his potential, and I hope that when he gets to New York, his potential is tapped to help him to be a great player, help him realize his potential, what he can be. Obviously, there's certain abilities and certain traits that do need some work, but he is going into a defense led by Don Wink Martindale, former Raven defensive coordinator, who's very aggressive. I think it's very good. I think that system is really good for him. I think he definitely sets. I think he'll set the tone. And when you look at New York, he helps the Giants because you got Aziz Ajuri on the other side. So the Giants did a really good job with this pick. Let's go to Carolina. With the 6th overall pick, they selected Ekimate Ikonu. I was surprised. So this is where I actually had my first quarterback taken off the board. I should have known better because I value offensive linemen. The only questions people have had about him is that his athleticism, and he's staying home, close to home, which is good. I think that'll definitely help him for sure. And when you look at Ikonu, like particularly at North Carolina State, I looked at the tape. They have this scheme where he can excel with his ability to open up the lanes and contain or take away certain defenders. He did really well at the combine, which was really good. He, to me, was probably the best offensive lineman. I even made a case he could be the number 1 overall pick, but that didn't happen. So he's definitely going to be a good run blocker. He's got good agility, very versatile. They're definitely going to look at that. Now, I said quarterback because the verdict on Sam Darnold seems to be at a crossroad. I said, for the sake of the team, start over with just a new beginning. Now, I could see why they didn't want to take a quarterback, because I think they're going to give Sam Darnold another opportunity, but they needed somebody back there. Now you build up an offensive line that can help Sam, but Matt Rule, they got to sit him down. They got to give him all the confidence in the world. Now you got Bradley Bozeman, former Raven, and then you signed Austin Corbett. So that should definitely help Carolina. Let's stay in New York with the 7th overall, with the New York Giants. With the 7th overall pick, they selected Evan Neal. I thought this was very, very interesting that they came out another one with his injury history. We're like, some teams, we're not really sold on him because of the injuries. Evan Neal will be a good offensive lineman. He gives New York, and just like Ikonu, he gives him versatility. He played left guard, right guard, and left tackle during his time at Alabama. Okay. To me, you got Andrew Thomas on the left side. So you definitely have to upgrade at the right side. So you got two cornerstone tackles. And me, I value left and right tackles. And the Giants definitely needed one. Now, Evan Neal could have been number one overall pick, but again, regardless, I think he was a top 10 pick. Because to me, like I said, I value offensive linemen a little bit more than I value defense. That's just me. So they addressed what they needed in this draft. I like that. Now, fun fact: since 1993 and 2000, in the top 10, you've had 5 Hall of Famers, and there's others. Willie Roaf, Baselli, Ogden, Orlando Pace, Walter Jones, were all drafted within the top 10. Interesting. Between those years, I couldn't believe that stat. I was like, wow. I think it was some other guys like Kyle Turley, Willie Anderson, Chris Samuels, who should be a Hall of Famer, but that's one other subject for another video. Let's go to Atlanta. With the 8th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons selected Drake London. This was another one where I had them taking a quarterback. Because to me, again, I'm not saying that these quarterbacks coming in this draft class were instant starters. They were. I think out of all of them, Malik Willis was the true most ready quarterback, and then Kenny Pickett, even though there's some concerns about his arm strength. I'm not saying these guys are day one starters, but is Marcus Mariota your long-term answer? No. And to me, I don't know what Atlanta's trying to do. I don't. I'm confused with this. I know he played basketball at University USC. He, to me, will definitely fit Atlanta's system. And I think also, too, and I didn't think about this until after, he's going to take over for Calvin Ridley, who's going to be out for this upcoming season. So I think it was a good pick for them. I mean, if you look at the wide receiver class, he was arguably the best one. He only missed 4 games. To me, I don't really see what was the answer of not taking the quarterback in the first round. To me, Drake London was a first round pick. Now he's going to be alongside Kyle Pitts, and that's going to be interesting duo. Kind of want to see what those two will do, but I do feel like at some point you're going to have to draft the quarterback. You're going to have to. That to me was the elephant in the room once they traded Matt Ryan. Who knows? Marcus Mariota may have a Pro Bowl year. I don't know, or they feel like they can go out here and look for a quarterback. But this free agency class of quarterbacks was trash. There was really no other good quarterback out there you can sign. So we'll see. We will see. Now, with the 9th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks selected Charles Cross. Now, I'm confused with this. Now, the guy you just traded to Denver, Mr. Russell Wilson, has been begging for offensive line help, but you traded him. I'm baffled with this pick. Now, a lot of people say he was the smallest offensive lineman here. I'm just confused. Why did you wait now to get to really get the help now. And so, yeah, that's beyond me. To me, I just think that with Seattle, I think they were perplexed because Brandon Shell and Dwayne Brown are free agents, and well, no, Dwayne Brown I know definitely is not going to come back now, and then also too a quarterback. I had them taking Malik Willis because I felt like you traded Russell Wilson. Everyone has been saying it since he was in Denver. No disrespect to Drew Lock, but he's not. He's an okay quarterback, but they need to find somebody else. But to me, I don't really know what to feel about this pick. I don't. I mean, he'll most likely be at left tackle, but I had him going earlier, so I feel like it's not. Charles Cross isn't a bad player. This is not the tackle for. This is not who I would have taken if I was Seattle. But when you took Evan Neal and then Ikonu, you had no choice but to take Charles Cross. So it's not saying he's bad. I just think it just, to me, I think this was a panic pick for Seattle. But Charles Cross is a good tackle. He's going to be a good player. To finish off the top 10, the New York Jets, selected Garrett Wilson. I had Garrett Wilson going to, at first, Washington. The New York Jets, they're talking about they want to trade him up, trade this pick for Debo. It's funny. The Jets are going to love this guy. I mean, even though his size, he's only 6 feet. He's not the most physical wide receiver. That's okay, but he can create opportunities, and he's got speed that can't be ignored. Now, obviously, he's got a case of butterfingers, and the guy work on the route running, and that'll all be cleaned up. Now, you got to give Joe Douglas some love here. These last couple years, he has been doing the dirty work, and he is building this franchise to be competitive. Now, you got Sauce Gardner with the 4th overall pick, which is definitely going to be helping Sahala's defense, and then you got a dynamic weapon to help that offense at times that was very stale. Now, Corey Davis, as much as I love Corey Davis, has not lived up to the contract at all. And who knows? He could have a turnaround year. I don't know. But I do feel like at some point, if he can't get it done, you got to move on from Corey Davis. But I like this pick from New York because he's definitely going to give Zach Wilson another weapon. And if you think about it, you didn't have to trade for Debo. Because you know why? Because it's a cheaper option. That's just me. Let's go back down south to the New Orleans Saints with the 11th overall pick. They selected Chris Olave. They traded this pick for Washington. Washington had the 11th overall pick, and then the Washington Commanders, they moved down. So, to me, couple things I took into consideration. The Saints are going to get a polished and most ready wide receiver. His route running is immaculate. To me, his ability to make plays when he did at Ohio State, that is going to be key. You need another dynamic weapon alongside Michael Thomas. But I don't really know where Michael Thomas is really with the Saints, because I can't get over the fact that they said, could you get the surgery earlier? He wanted to get a second opinion, which I respect that. Then you got the surgery in June. So I don't understand what that was all about. But they did need another weapon on the other side of Michael because they didn't really have guys. I mean, Marquez Callaway was a good player, but there was no dynamic wide receiver. I mean, other than Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, who else did you have offensively? Don't have that. So I think it was good for New Orleans to move up. To me, the Saints are going to love him. And to me, I think his name is Mickey Loomis, who's the GM. He traded up 5 spots. He gave away a third and a couple fourth-round picks just to get him. So this is really going to be really key. But the Saints had to do it because, unfortunately, you lost Jameis and Michael Thomas to injuries. You really do have to pick yourself up off the ground and just get everybody healthy and run it back. So that's a good pick for New Orleans. Let's go to Detroit. The Detroit Lions had the 12th overall pick. They traded the Minnesota Vikings had this pick. And with the 12th overall pick, they selected Jameson Williams. Interesting. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL. So we didn't get to see what he looked like. He got injured during the national championship game. To me, they needed a dynamic wide receiver. Other than St. Brown, Reynolds, the Lions didn't really have the best wide receiver core. And then you got T.J. Hawkinson. So to me, with his speed and his effective and him as an offensive weapon for Jared Goff, he's definitely like that. I like his tempo, especially when it comes to route running. He took advantage of that. But the injury right here, I was really surprised that he went this high. It was interesting. He went this high, but they downplayed offensive linemen and their injuries. But that's another subject for another video. He arguably had to make the case to be a number one wide receiver. The Lions did sign DJ Chark, to a 1-year deal. So to me, he's going to definitely help give Mr. Jared Goff another weapon alongside Amon-Ra St. Brown and then Hawkinson. And then you're getting Williams, and I can't think of the running back's name. Oh, my gosh. I had it in my fantasy. His name escapes me. I see his face. Oh, my gosh. Hold on. I got to look him up. I'm sorry. I see his face. I can't think of his name. Where is he? Where is he? He's gonna bother me. Run it back. DeAndre Swift. That's who it was. I apologize. It was going to bother me. So, Lions didn't do too bad there. Now, let's go to the city of brotherly love, the Philadelphia Eagles. They selected Jordan Davis. I like this pick. It gives another weapon other than Hargraves on the other side. To me, he is a difference. With Georgia, he to me was a difference maker in that defensive interior. The question is his usage. How much is his usage going to be coming into when he starts Philadelphia? Because he might. I'm going to be honest. He might be the focal. He might be asked to take on some of the work. I believe he can do that. Because he definitely did open up opportunities for the others, particularly the national championship. Because I feel like, to me, in Philadelphia, they're gonna love him. Now, Philadelphia they took him from us because the Houston Texans had this pick.
Skip. Good Lord, thank the good Lord I am on FCC airwaves. I thank the good Lord. It's hard to take, man.
I think we need to move Lonzo.
That ain't no problem.
Huh?
That ain't no problem.
Well,
Thank you, Houston Texans. But you know what? I like the pick. Regardless, look, they're going to get a great player in Mr. Davis. To me, he's definitely going to be a problem to contain in the NFL because he can definitely disrupt the running lanes and for sure. And Philadelphia is going to be much better against the run. So because they got an interior defensive line that's getting older for Fletcher Cox. So you gotta start thinking about the future. So we go to Baltimore with the 14th overall pick. The Baltimore Ravens selected Kyle Hamilton. Where is it? Arguably, you could say we got the steal. His athleticism, I think he will be good for the pass and the run, to me, in my opinion. Yes, there are some questions in certain coverages, but we're definitely going to use him in many different ways, take advantage of the talent, the skills that he does have, and even tap into those that can be better. Because let's just keep it real, we definitely needed a safety back there. The safeties we've had the past couple of years haven't panned out. Some have due to injuries, and others were just not that good. Let's just call it what it is. Now, to me, with Kyle Hamilton, he's played against Kyle Pitts. Like Kyle, I'm thinking like Kyle Pitts, and I think I'll give another random example. I can't think Quentin Nelson. I think who comes to mind. Like regardless, their playing style they let their games do the talking, and to me, that's where the value should be at best. Definitely got to steal, Marcus. Definitely. What's going on, bro? What's going on, sir? Definitely got to steal. I believe he's definitely, to me, going to definitely really adjust well. Again, he wasn't the greatest at the combine. He ran a 4.5 because that's typically where you should, but I think he was like a 4.7. They did get Marcus Williams. Even if we messed up on Jordan Davis, that's okay. Didn't panic. Not mad at that. So Eric DeCosta definitely got a steal. Then you got Chuck Clark, and you could probably get another if there's makes sense in the draft. We'll see. You can definitely do your work with Kyle Hamilton for sure. And also too, Mike McDonald, that defense is going to be something. Let's go to Houston. They traded down for the 15th overall pick. With the 15th overall pick, the Houston Texans selected Kenyan Green.
Oh my God.
Okay, just follow me here. Okay, he's played at pretty much every position. He played at left guard in 2019. Then he played left guard 2 years ago, and then he played at center last year. Okay, so that's the key, is where is he going to play? The other issue is that he has a tendency of getting a lot of penalties. I've noticed that. I did my research on him, and I think that's another thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, going into Texas A&M, he was a 5-star player. The issue is, why did Houston pass up on Ikonu, Evan Neal, and Charles Cross, and then not only that, you backtrack and you reached with Kenyan Green. This is kind of like Alex Leatherwood pick from last year with Oakland. They're great players, but I wouldn't. Nah, this was reach number one. Let's go to the Washington Commanders. With the 16th overall pick, they selected. Where's the clip? Hold on. Wait. Here we go. Johan Dobson.
I think we need to move Lonzo.
That ain't no problem.
Huh?
That ain't no problem.
Well,
I don't know what to feel about this pick. Carson needed some help. Besides McLaurin, you get a healthy Curtis Samuel back, number one, and then now you've got Dobson. So you got another speed threat to me. I like the pick. I just feel like the question is, where is he going to be? Is he the number 2 wide receiver or the number 3 wide receiver? I think that's the question, because he doesn't have the size to be a slot receiver. I agree. It was a safe pick. That's what I'm thinking too. I'm kind of coming to that. I kind of realized that when I look back at it. It was definitely a safe pick. And then when you look at it, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great route runner. I mean, the only thing is just he's not his size. I don't think he can play slot. So I think he's probably going to be number 2 wide receiver. He's not your traditional wide receiver, but he can be a playmaker, and I think Washington will definitely benefit from that. Now, to me, hopefully they'll come to him and Terry McLaurin will get it together. Washington and McLaurin will get it together, come to the table, and get that contract extension taken care of. Get a healthy Curtis Samuel, who I believe will probably be your slot wide receiver. And then also, too, I think this will definitely improve the passing attack, which was mediocre. I'm concerned about how Ron Rivera goes about his decision making. Yeah, I am, because I think it was just a week or so before the draft, he kind of hinted at what he was going to do, which was very, very, very telling. Let's go to the West Coast with the 17th overall pick, the Los Angeles Chargers. Wait, let me try the clip ready. The Los Angeles Chargers selected Zion Johnson. The Chargers are building that offensive line around Mr. Justin Herbert. Last year, they got Rashard Slater, and they did a fantastic job with that. I like this pick because, to me, I keep saying it, look at how I value offensive line. You have to protect your investment. Now, you got Zion Johnson, who can not only play not just guard, but he can possibly play center, because he played left guard, right tackle, and then left tackle, and even took some centers at the Senior Bowl. Like, to me, he fits this Charger team well. And that Charger team now easily is a top 3 team, in my opinion.
Guaranteed.
They're building that offensive line, and they're doing a fantastic job. This was a good pick. I like it. No problems with it. The only concern I just have with him is he was caught off guard. He's caught off from what I've seen from what I read. He could be caught off balance, which I didn't really understand. To me, I feel like that can easily be cleaned up with the offensive line coach. To me, I feel like he's going to be the starter for it regardless. But, Rashard Slater, now Zion Johnson. Woo-wee! I like it. With the 18th overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles had this pick too. They traded to Tennessee for A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown signed a 4-year deal for $100 million.
Congratulations! Oh my God.
With the 18th overall pick, the Tennessee Titans selected Treylon Burks. It made sense to me. Again, if you're actually paying attention, ladies and gentlemen, because Mr. Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, teams have now found a way to, instead of paying guys, they could go in the draft and find somebody cheaper. That's smart, and I would do the same thing too. They got a physical wide receiver. I like Treylon. I got Arkansas. He's a good, just a good wide receiver. He kind of reminds me, and it may be a reach, but we'll see. He kind of reminds me of Debo Samuel. To me, they're both. He's not like A.J. Brown, but they're different. Treylon played primarily slot. And A.J. Brown did too when he was at Ole Miss. So hindsight's 2020. So I do think that there's going to be an expectation for him to step up instantly like that. So we'll see. With the 19th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints selected the guy I wanted in Baltimore, Trevor Penning. They got Mr. Terrell Armstead's replacement. I should have thought about this. I should have thought this through because of a couple things. Number one, this notion that salary cap is a lie. I don't believe that. I believe that you can't pay everybody. When you try to pay everybody and your team's not winning and you're operating in the red, there's a problem. Either guys are going to be free agents or there are certain guys you just can't pay. Unfortunately, that's just the reality. And Armstead was one of them. Now, to me, I think he's going to be a good left tackle. There's some things he definitely has to clean up. A lot of people talked about his certain issues they had with him, but they're going to love him in New Orleans. Now, coming out of Northern Iowa, he's definitely he's got good qualities. To me, I really wish we had this in Baltimore, but that's okay. They gave up a first-round pick just to get him. I think it's like next year. And to me, to get not only Chris Olave, but then Penning, I think was good. But I think it made sense because you had to replace Armstead. And let's keep it real. Armstead is one of the best left tackles in the game because he's now in Miami. And but because of injuries, he never really played a full season in New Orleans. And to me, he definitely will be a anchor for that offensive line for many, many years to come. With the 20th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers took Kenny Pickett. I'm not mad at this pick. I'm not. I don't think he needs to be a starter right away because you got Mitchell Trubisky. To me, it looks like the starting quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky. Kenny's definitely going to be most likely sitting behind Mason Rudolph and learning the system and getting familiar with it. The only question people had was with his arm accuracy. That's it. His that was kind of the concerns that I was hearing of, in my opinion. But I feel like those things will definitely clean up. You're getting someone that played close to home, and I feel like he has all the tools to be a good quality quarterback in this league. Because you need a quarterback, particularly in the AFC North. You've got Lamar Jackson. You've got now a plethora of quarterbacks. We got Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson, and it's a lot. And then you've got Mr. Joey in Cincinnati, Joe Burrow. So you have to take a quarterback. A lot of people were saying Malik Willis. But I'm like, why not Kenny Pickett? So, and I didn't feel like, and I felt like they didn't have to trade up for a quarterback. And I even had them, I think I had them taking, I might have them taking Kenny Pickett, I think. Or if you go back and look at the 2.0, 1.0, I had them taking a quarterback. So, to me, I like the pick. So let's go to Kansas City. New England had this pick, and they traded. And with the 21st overall pick, the Kansas City Chiefs took Trent McDuffie. Great pick, in my opinion, because to me they lost Chavius Ward and Mike Hughes. They lost in free agency, and I think Kansas City, they needed to address their secondary, which was key. He's arguably the best corner when it comes to zone coverage, and I think he will definitely help Kansas City in certain areas. Only things with consideration, people said a lot about his size, but it's something about the guys smaller corners. They are very physical, and they really are very versatile. So I think Kansas City's going to get a good corner, and to me, they now have to start developing that defense because they're going to start slowing some of these offenses down now. And Kansas City, over the years, I've never really seen them really truly invest in a corner. And to me, I thought that was good. I definitely think that's the key. You got to start building an identity on defense. That's the key. Let's go to Green Bay. With the 22nd overall pick, the Green Bay Packers selected Quay Walker.
Oh my God.
What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
Okay. Couple issues I had with this. Good linebacker coming out of Georgia. No issue with that. I would have thought Green Bay would have focused on finding a wide receiver replacement. But because everybody went wide receiver happy before Green Bay, I think Green Bay had to go to plan B, and that was start investing in defense. I don't know how to feel about that. To me, he wasn't the best linebacker at Georgia. In this draft class, he's arguably one of the best. Green Bay had a number of choices. They could have took Devin Lloyd with this pick. I do believe that when I look at this pick, I really feel like they could have went wide receiver. But Walker will be a good player for Green Bay. I'm not going to ignore that. So this was reach number 2. With the 23rd overall pick, the Buffalo Bills selected Ekimate Ikonu. Ironically, is his uncle Matt Elam, former Baltimore Raven. I made it clear the Bills needed to upgrade. They needed, because Tre'Davious White, we don't know where he's at. I mean, with his progression currently from his ACL injury, to me, I think he is a good press coverage corner, and Buffalo will like that for sure. Now, we actually had traded down. We had got this pick from Baltimore. We had the 23rd pick. And because, stay with me, because we just stay with me on this one. But I will say this about Kareem. To me, when you look at Buffalo, they didn't really have a lot of glaring issues. The secondary was really the issue to me. Buffalo did what they had to do, and they got the guy they had. Now, Levi Wallace is now in Pittsburgh, unfortunately, sadly, because now I have to see him for 2 games, and that's okay. Shout out to Levi Wallace. I'm a fan. I love him. And to me, why not? You jump before Dallas. Which brings me to my next pick. The Dallas Cowboys selected Tyler Smith.
What? What? And you got to be kidding me.
You know what? In all seriousness, I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. He has all the tools to be a good tackle in this league. But this is potential. And Dallas, to me, was a good pick. Good place. Now, most likely he's going to replace Connor Williams, and you don't have Levi Collins there anymore. There is some things that need to be cleaned up, which will easily be addressed, in my opinion. But to me, there are some other ones out there. Their offensive line is getting older, and he definitely adds a significant upgrade but he's going to be some work. He's definitely going to be some work. And to me, a couple things I took note of. His hand placement needs work, and some other stuff, some really technical stuff. But I feel like they'll definitely work with him on that. I mean, he has all the skills to be a great tackle. It's just, I don't know how to feel. Maybe I don't know. They could have. I think because you could have traded up to get a corner, but that's okay. Now, with the 25th pick, because Arizona had the 23rd pick, and we traded Marquise Hollywood Brown. Let's be realistic for a second before I get to that pick. Marquise Brown made it clear he wanted to trade. He wanted out. Because he was not liking the system. Even though I'm confused on the fact that here's a guy who had over 1,000 yards of receiving, who was supposed to be a number 1 wide receiver, obviously wanted to be else somewhere happy. I'm not mad at it. I wish him all the best in Arizona. He and Kyler Murray are reunited, like Peaches and Herb. For Baltimore, you had to do it because you had to pay him at some point. And again, You can't pay everybody because you still got to figure out what you're going to do with Lamar, number one. And number two, Eric DeCosta kind of said it. Like, he wanted to take on his fifth-year option. But Hollywood said, yo, man, this ain't at me. And when he said the system wasn't a good fit for him, that's a shot at Greg Roman. Because whether we like this or not, and Greg Roman, if you're listening and watching this, which I pretty doubt you will not. What I took from the press conference with John Harbaugh a few months back, you have to get it right this year or time's up. You have got to open up the playbook. But it's another with these guys, and it's not to me, and this is what I'm talking about with the word sacrificing, because to me, we're thinking more about numbers, we're thinking about stats and all this other stuff instead of winning football games. Like, I just don't understand the mentality. We're winning, but I can't play in this system because it takes away my stats. Where I've seen Hollywood Brown in clutch situations not disappoint. And this still bothers me. We're playing Pittsburgh to get into the playoffs last year. And ironically, all 17 weeks, we were still, all we had to do was just win. So in the 2-minute situation, Tyler Huntley throws a pass to the right side, towards out of bounds. Hollywood catches it and lets Minka Fitzpatrick basically punch the ball out of his hand. Like, there were a lot of situations where I'm looking at Hollywood Brown like, dude, you got a case of the drops. Like, my number one wide receiver formerly should not have that many drops in the season. Now, he's going to be a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Everyone's getting a good wide receiver. I wish him all the best. I have no animosity towards Hollywood Brown. I love Hollywood Brown. I wish him all the best. But realistically, it was for the better. We did not need to address a wide receiver in this draft. I don't know why it's weird to me. I hear that all the time. Take a wide receiver. They have to take a wide receiver. But we're ignoring the fact they had a deplorable offensive line, a horrendous defense, where you're getting cats off the street. Seahawks fan here, just wanted to say you guys had a damn good draft. Hey, I like the Charles Cross pick. To me, I would have liked to see you guys take Malik Willis, but you're getting one hell of a good player in Charles Cross. I appreciate that. We definitely did have a damn good draft. But, hey, you guys got some talent for the Russell Wilson trade. So the Seahawks, shout out to the Seahawks, man. They're going to be let's not sneeze at them. Let's not. But with Baltimore, I think it was smart. We traded down because Buffalo had the 25th pick. And with the 25th pick, we selected Tyler Lindenbaum. Now, I actually had him going to Philadelphia because Philadelphia needs a center. Because Mr. Jason Kelsey has been these last couple of years this 1-year deal thing, which is weird to me. But we got our center. Now, we were like, kind of question, do we go after a center free agency because Bradley Bozeman left? We offered Bradley Bozeman an extension, and he turned it down. Weird. So not only did you hit the draft with the 14th pick with Kyle Hamilton, but then you got Lindenbaum. Just a great – he will fit this system beautifully. This is another generational talent, in my opinion. To me, Baltimore is going to get arguably a good center who, to me, because let's keep it real, we are a run-first team. And he worked out with Marshall Yonda. He will definitely a good run blocker because we're a ground and pound. And to me, when you look at Baltimore, it's just interesting that particularly in heavy zone blocking schemes, he will thrive. Now, I do feel like there will be some issues with his length, and he's not bulky, but come on, people, he'll get better. he'll definitely get the weight up and all those different things like that. So I'm not panicking at that. So they had, and that was another need. We had to draft a center. And let's keep it real. You get, even though I wanted Trevor Penning, that's okay. But Tyler DeMond was not bad neither. You get him, Tyler. You get a healthy Ronnie Stanley back. Morgan Moses as a free agency addition. Kevin Zeitler. Most likely your left guard is going to be Ben Powers or Ben Cleveland or the guy we got, Daniel Fale, which we'll talk about in the next video. You got an offensive line. If they just continue just to build that offensive line, particularly once Kevin and Morgan respectively decide to call it a career, you want to just continue to build that offensive line. But Baltimore, they got two damn good steals. Really two good steals. Let's go back to the Big Apple, the New York Jets. With the 26th pick, they selected Jermaine Johnson II. Another steal. Wow. I had him going earlier, and with the Jets, they're getting a damn good player. You're going to get Carl Lawson back, but you arguably got one of the best pass rushers in this draft. To me, he's just getting better year in and year out, to me. I feel like, to me, he will be a better – I think he can actually be both a good pass rusher, whether it's the run or the pass. I do feel like he will be in a good situation where he could let his talent develop and his play do the talking. And to me, again, Joe Douglas, man, they're not messing around. They are definitely putting together a team. And like when you look at Robert Sahala, San Francisco, that defense was built, and it started with the defensive line. And this was definitely a good one. Jacksonville, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, had this pick. With the 27th overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Devin Lloyd. Not mad at it, honestly. Miles Jack, who is now in Pittsburgh, they added Foye Olakun, something like that. I cannot pronounce his name. To me, his last name, excuse me. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars got a good linebacker here. He'll be a good 3-off linebacker. To me, the only concerns I have is he doesn't finish his in certain situations when I'm talking in terms of tackling. He's going to be all over the field. And to me, he is he's a good defender. You can interchange him in pretty much any of the linebacking positions, whether it's inside, outside, or middle. I think that's actually definitely going to be good. And he can also be an edge rusher too. So you've got a really all-around defensive player. And the biggest key is versatile. I think he is a very versatile linebacker, and the Jaguars did a really good job with this pick. Let's go back to Green Bay. With the 28th pick, the Green Bay Packers selected Devontae Wyatt, another Georgia Bulldog. Well, not having the wide receivers that they wanted, they could have got Pickens if they wanted to. They're just going to continue to buff up the defense, which I'm not mad at. I think in my personal opinion, Wyatt was the best, the second best behind Jordan Davis, in my opinion. The only issue that I have with Devontae is when he's double teamed, he can't beat the double. He really struggles to beat the double teams. But I feel like that'll get better with coaching. To me, they had to address this issue, this area as well, because Jaron Reed is on a 1-year deal, and they got someone named Dean Lowry, who's also I believe will be a free agent, if I'm saying that correctly. Hey, Daryl, what's going on, sir? I'm praying my Cowboys picks will make up for what we lost this offseason and what we didn't go out in the free agency. Well, he didn't really have a lot of wiggle room to make with free agency. I was surprised he didn't go after a corner. I like Tyler Smith. I think he'll be a good offensive lineman. And plus, you did need to. I like Connor Williams, but he's not the long-term answer in my eyes. But I think it makes up. I think this draft makes up for what you guys lost in the draft. In free agency for sure, without question. And then let's go to your New England Patriots with the 29th pick. The New England Patriots selected Cole Strange.
Oh my God.
So when are we going to say something about it?
Where the hell are you? You got to be kidding me.
Well, oh boy. Okay, the Kansas City Chiefs had this pick. This was a reach. Like this is how bad you know it's a reach when Sean McVay and I get the GM's name were like, that's the guy we wanted in the 3rd or 4th round. That's how bad this is a reach. This is obviously going to be a pick that's going to replace Shaq Mason. But was he a 1st round pick? No.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Bill Belichick.
What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like he definitely, they could have waited. They could have waited. I mean, what? I mean, they've done this before. Because they drafted. What's his name? This was many years ago. His name was like Logan Macon, something like that. And I'm like, who the hell is that? But I mean, he had a little decent career. Shout out to Logan Macon, man. We got three more picks, ladies and gentlemen. Then we're going to end the video with the 30th pick. The Kansas City Chiefs selected George Karlaftis. That's all you need to know. I'm just kidding. All seriousness. Look, they needed to address the pass rush. They needed more help. Frank Clark's not getting any younger. And to me, he definitely gives them a shot in the arm for what they've been looking for to me. He definitely has all the tools to be a good explosive pass rusher. He's not the speediest edge, and I think he'll be okay. Now, he was right there with Carolina, right there with Kansas City, right to their lap. A lot of people had him going higher. Some mock drafts had Baltimore taking him. To me, them getting you get Chris Jones, Frank Clark, and then Melvin Ingram III, which I thought was an interesting trade from Pittsburgh. That pass rush is not bad. It's not bad at all. And also, too, you know, the only issue is just that he's just got to just develop his consistency to beat. Probably he could put left tackles and right tackles. That's the only thing. If he can develop some quickness, what an edge rusher is supposed to be, he'll be good. With the 31st pick in the 2022 NFL draft, the Cincinnati Bengals selected Daxton Hill. they didn't really have much to address. I mean, they really much kind of did the work. They needed a corner, to me. Even though he's more built, he's kind of actually look at him, he's built like a safety. It kind of reminds me of oh my gosh, Isaiah Simmons almost. But I definitely, the Bengals are definitely going to love him as a versatile corner. To me, now the reason why they took him now was because, unfortunately, that's why I hate free agency, ladies and gentlemen. They got some guys that they're going to have to pay, and to me, why not take them? It makes sense, and also too, in the AFC North, in the AFC period, where we love to throw the ball, it's going to be really interesting. And with the final pick of the 2022 NFL Draft of the first round, the Minnesota Vikings select Louis Sign, another Georgia Bulldog. Well, the Georgia Bulldogs certainly definitely had their pick of the litter for sure. I like Louis. To me, I looked at, and I'm kind of confused why they didn't get Kyle Hamilton, because they obviously should look at some point for a replacement for Harrison Smith, because Harrison Smith, shout out to Harrison Smith, he's not getting any younger. Let's just keep it real. The fact that you had the 12th overall pick and then you went all the way down to 32nd overall pick, I get it. The difference between Lewis and Kyle, they're two different type of safeties. But this class of safeties weren't the speediest. And I really do feel like this is probably going to be Harrison Smith's replacement, because he's going to make $15 million next year. So they can save some money if they cut him next year, because Harrison Smith's going to be in his late 30s, like 33. So that should be interesting. But I think it's a fair pick. I'm not mad at it. If you pushed me, I don't know who else you could have taken. But that was the first round. Who I think did a really good job, to me, those that were not that great. The Jets were winners to me. Jacksonville, they've improved their defense. The Falcons, I think, did really well. They got Desmond Ridder, they got a quarterback, so I'm not mad at that. New York Jets, again, Zach Wilson, they're buffing up that offensive line around him, and they got a dynamic wide receiver. The Ravens did really well with this draft, to me, in my opinion. And also, too, the wide receivers. It was a wide receiver. It was wide receiver day. Everyone's going to love their wide receivers no matter where they go, for sure. I do feel like there's a couple things that happened. Now, I had 5 quarterbacks going in the first round. Kenny Pickett was the only one that went in the first round.
Relationship with your
Oh my God.
Like Malik Willis was sitting there, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder. They were all just sitting there. And I was kind of confused. Like I that really, really, really definitely was interesting. The Bears, I felt like the Bears could have gotten involved in some way. To me, they've kind of, they didn't have anything until they didn't have a first round pick. So they had a second round pick, and they got 2 defensive backs and I think a wide receiver. That was it. And then to me, that was pretty much it. Wide receiver, running backs. No running back was in the first round this year, which was really surprising to me. I'm not surprised. I think the value for running backs have kind of started to really diminish. And Yeah, I was surprised. I did not see a running back go in the first round. Also, Kenny Pickett, I think won because he's staying home, close to home, and I think that's a good pick for Pittsburgh. Also, too, mock drafts took some L's because you definitely had some reaches. I thought, look, shout to Cole Strange. He's a good player, but that was a definite reach, in my opinion. And then Washington too. Washington got a good wide receiver. It was a safety pick, but I do have questions about Ron Rivera and his decision making for sure. But y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of your team and their picks? Who do you think won the draft? Who do you think lost the draft? How does this draft impact? We got 5 months until football starts, ladies and gentlemen. Just letting you know. So y'all let me know your thoughts on the draft. We will do for the Ravens and the Commanders. We will break down our full NFL draft. Those will come in a video on Monday. So be tuned in for that, ladies and gentlemen. But I am going to enjoy the rest of this weekend. You will see the WNBA preseason rankings for me tomorrow. Definitely be tuned in for that. But another draft where
Guys, I can't look at this anymore. I'm done. Unbelievable.
That's how I felt. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Like after the 10th pick, it to me, I mean, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, like 3 wide receivers straight back to back, and then you had 1, 2. You had it was a mess. It was a mess, but it was a good draft. Also, congratulations, fellas. Best of luck. I mean, those that didn't get a name called. Look, this is keep your head up. God's got something definitely stored in for you. Opportunities will come. You just gotta be ready for it. And congratulations to those that did get drafted. Those that should have been first round picks were not first round picks. I apologize because I don't know what some of these executives are doing. But for one particular team. Particularly for all those that questioned what Mr. Eric DaCosta was going to do in this draft. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. I will see y'all tomorrow. Stay up, y'all.
Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.